Christina from Hoopla.
And I'm Megan from Southern Branding.
And today we are going to unpack Megan's trip to ASI Chicago. And we're going to find out her key takeaways. So
Yes.
How'd your trip go?
Well, okay. So first of all, the context for anybody that's not necessarily in our industry is this was our first industry show in about 18 months because everything has been canceled. So it was, really big deal. And then in addition to that, it was also the first show at the Expo Center, the Convention Center in Chicago, as well. So it was just a big deal all around. And the whole feeling of it was, you could just tell everybody had been craving that connection and seeing each other and being in person. And it was a great experience. I think the number I saw was there was 3,500 attendees.
Wow.
Yeah. We had, I think it was around 400 suppliers. It was about a third less suppliers than, or maybe a quarter than what had been there previously in past years, but still a great number. And it was kind of crazy because the first day was just so busy and everybody was so excited to be there. All the booths were packed. And you could make it through in one day, which is also kind of usually you need a couple of days to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the most impact, for myself. I got the most impact on the second day, being able to go back and, made notes about like which people I wanted to go and revisit and have one-on-one conversations. So it was awesome to be in person. I live in Arkansas though. And so, coming back was a big reality check because we're having a big COVID situation here. So yeah. Some of the takeaways I will tell you though, as far as things to be aware of, obviously inventory was a big topic. And there's kind of two parts to it. So, we've been encouraging everyone to order early, get your orders in so you actually have a chance of getting what you want.
Yeah.
If you're waiting until later, you're going to have issues with it and you're going to be taking whatever's left over.
Or having to pay expedited freight.
Expedited freight isn't even guaranteed right now because UPS and FedEx are not guaranteeing their transit times, even if it is expedited.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to have yourself in a pickle, as they say. The other part to that though, is there are a large number of suppliers who are getting new items in, but they're not coming in until October.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is, there's going to be, new product coming in, which is always great.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. There is no getting more in of that. So once it is gone, it is going to be gone. So if you're waiting until October to see any of this new product, there are no guarantees that you're actually going to get it because other people are going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And if there are people that are buying in really, really large quantities, it's gonna get depleted really quickly. So that was kind of the interesting thing about inventory. I'm still encouraging, like, let's get it done now. Let's find ways to, what's available now, what has deep inventory now, so we can get it done for you. And there are some great products out there right now, and there are even some new products out there right now. So that was one thing. Another thing was packaging. We talked so much about packaging in the past year. Really, people were trying to find ways to connect with their clients, employees while they're at home. And so shipping, doing custom boxes, doing custom packages, having this whole unboxing experience, really has had a moment in the past year and has been big. Well, that's not going away. Now there's even more and more resources to be able to do this. And just about all of our, go-to main suppliers are offering some type of packaging. It may be custom box packaging. It might be a brown box, that has a decal on it, something.
I love the magnetic box.
Say that again?
I'm a fan of the magnetic box.
Oh, that's the way to really elevate it. Love those.
Yeah, I love those.
I really like doing talking about that, like the the lid with the magnetic box, but I really love like the black with the black tonal imprint.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a good point. Another thing that we learned, just being able to talk with, the heads of some of these major suppliers is, this shortage that we're experiencing with inventory is not going away. And it's probably not going to get any better in 2022 either.
Really? They predict the whole year it won't?
It's going to be the second part before we might be able to see some relief. Yeah. One of the things that I learned that I was not aware of was that there is a yarn shortage. Oh. So not only is there a cotton shortage, but there's also the thread and the yarn shortage.
Wow.
So some of our t-shirt manufacturers, for example, there's one that we know and love here that does a USA made item. They're going to be cutting down on the different styles, the different colors that are available, and moving only to core colors like a white, black, gray type of situation to try to help with that, so that there is some inventory available. And I think we're going to see that more and more often. I mean, now if you're checking inventory levels on any of the, people like the comfort colors, people like all the different, next level colors, and, different, the Gildan soft style, the shirts like that, there's no inventory available.
I'm a district girl. I'm a district tri-blend.
One now. Yeah.
Girl.
But there's going to be we're going to see a lot of struggles with that.
Yeah.
So if you have people that are, maybe more, they're using t-shirts for uniforms, maybe in the, outdoor landscaping construction, places like that are using t-shirts as part of a uniform program, and it might be a colored tee that represents what your brand is. Yeah. You need to be looking at that right now, because the inventory is not going to get replenished in this.
Wow.
Next year. Yeah. So that was a big takeaway. Another takeaway was, last year we saw a lot of our suppliers offering different types of, specials and deals, or
that was one thing that I wanted to mention that you were just talking about. Is I've been noticing the emails flying that are notifying us. Basically, we've tried to keep our pricing, because of COVID and everything, but at this point we're going to have to increase pricing. And that is because there is more demand. There is a shortage of, like you said, raw materials and supply and stuff. So I want our buyers to know it's not us. We're kind of getting it fed down to us, and we all have to kind of just deal with, it's not just our industry either. It's every industry.
And this past year, our suppliers have taken it in the teeth. They've absorbed costs as best that they can on both the inventory side and on the shipping side of it. With the container issues that we've talked about, with the price of containers quadrupling, with the price of air freight, being is so expensive and going up in price. All of those costs have been absorbed by our suppliers, trying to keep a level playing field during this past year.
Yeah.
And then, like you just mentioned, the cost of raw materials. The cost of raw materials has also gone up because of all of this. So they're getting a double whammy right now. And so what we're seeing, is just what you said, just about across the board.
Yeah.
You can just say that. I'm just going to say that across the board. Every supplier is going to be taking price increases.
Yep.
They just are. And it is what it is. So last year, where we saw a lot of those specials where, suppliers were trying to incentivize, buying, because companies weren't spending a lot of money at that point. It was still like, we're holding everything close to the vest to see what's going to happen, how this is going to pan out with election, if we get vaccine, all that kind of stuff. All of that was still up in the air at that point last year. So we saw a lot of specials with free drop shipping or, free decoration, when different things like that. We're not
free setup.
Yeah. We're not going to see that this year. So that was the big thing. The other part that I just loved seeing saw so many suppliers using examples with their own samples and marketing of creative messaging. Like, loved it.
I love that.
So yeah, so we've talked about creative messaging before, and that's going to be a big push, a big theme for this holiday season, because we need to take items that are available and do something creative with it, and do something that that your employees, your clients are going to want and love.
So
and
Meghan,
yeah.
I know we're going to focus on holidays really soon, like really soon. And maybe we should do a whole segment actually on the process of not only deciding, like the process you were just mentioning, how to decide what to give your employees to make sure that they feel appreciated and all that jazz and aligned to your messaging and your branding, but how maybe we should do a special segment, but I think we should get into the nitty gritty of how to create those special messages, or that kind of messaging, and how to kind of just make your gift something that people really are going to cherish receiving. So I will, after this is over, I'll make sure I take a note that we need to definitely focus on that, because I think that that's intimidating for a lot of people, especially people that aren't necessarily like enjoy having that creativity, muscle worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it deserves its own segment. I mean, we could probably do several on it, but it's definitely something that's important and needs to be heard. And people are very attached to your logo, which is, as you should be. It's understandable. But when you think about what you want, this item that you're spending $20 on, like what you want it to, how you want that person to feel when they get it, like, okay, just having the logo on it isn't going to cut it. People want an experience now, which is part of
a connection.
Yep, a connection.
Yep.
One of the best ideas that I took away from the show, though, and it wasn't that there was any one example of it, but there were several things, just talking about 2020, that sort of thing, that had artwork referencing 2020. And I just thought, how great to let's create a commemorative piece about 2020. It was the year of COVID. It was the year of elections. It was a vaccine. It was toilet paper shortage. It was
and going into 2020, being in the promotional products business before 2020 and 2019 at the end.
Yeah. 2021. We're in 2021.
I know, but same thing. You were saying 2020, whatever, it all runs together. But in 2019, I vividly remember a lot of clients being really excited to use the 2020 as like 2020 vision, and like really seeing clearly and really playing on the 2020. And then 2 months into 2020, you had to scrap all of that because it was horrid. We were in, a crisis, a global crisis.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just see anything that's like this year, this 2021, where we all thought that the pandemic was going to be past us, that we were going to be moving through things, that this was the new year. It was the new year of hope. And then we all got into it and realized, like, oh, we're still in this. Doing some sort of like commemorative piece that like this is the thing that's going to, your grandkids still going to see in the cabinet, 40 years later, going, oh, look at that, like it's going to be the piece that you keep.
Well,
so even let's take advantage of things like that.
Right. Let's make lemonade out of lemons. Even, when we first started this segment, and before we even started recording, I know we were talking last night, and then we were talking today, how devastated you are on how COVID is just running rampant with the Delta variant in Arkansas. And so, I'm in Boise. It feels like a lot of back to normal for me. No one's wearing masks. I'm vaccinated. My husband's vaccinated. And talking to you last night and this morning, like, brought me back to reality. Like, we are not in the clear. Masks could come back very easily. We could, they say it gets worse in the fall and the winter because everyone's inside. School's going to start back up. And so it's, it's just funny, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but when you were talking about, 2020 kind of being this pinnacle year of just trying to take the good out of it, you know, and what we should remember about it, or kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say about that.
Does 2021 not feel like it's still 2020 though? Like the whole,
it's totally. I don't even count 2020 and 2021 in my book is like, they're not even real years. I'm like, they're like the 13th floor of a building.
Yeah.
Cut them out.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up, like, you know, because we're trying to keep these under 20 minutes, but do you have any other, you know, key takeaways that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So we talked about inventory, we talked about price increases. We talked about packaging, which is really cool. And then, you know, when you need to be ordering, I think, you know, another part is that there are some new items out there. So like, let's talk about those things too.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm excited to get some of the different samples in and some of our new things. You know, there's this influx still of retail brands that are coming into our industry that we now have access to. Yeah, which is exciting. It's also a double-edged sword as far as inventory though, because it is
Travis Matthews, everyone wanted the Travis Matthews and everyone got it. And it's been out of stock for months now. You can get like a handful of styles, but I mean.
Yeah, it's going to be replenished in November. A lot of Carhartt pieces will be as well. Same with Nike. You know, there's the best-selling Nike polo, you know, that we all know it's that Nike 363807 that has all the colors. That's the best-selling Nike polo.
Is that the dry fit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that inventory or that style number is going to be changing, which is why it's all out of inventory right now. So even with Nike polos, like we can't get those right now. It's kind of crazy with everything that's going on, but that will get better. That will get better closer into the fall and winter, October, November. We're going to start seeing all of that be replenished.
Yeah, we just got to be patient and just do what we can with what we have. And take one step forward and all that jazz. I did a reel recently, you know, you've seen those little those square poppets.
Yes.
New fidget toys. And I was like, who wants that? And they're not dirt cheap. They're about $4 a piece or whatever. I was like, who wants that? But one of my vendors, my suppliers sent me one. My daughter went gaga that I had.
She's loving it.
Oh, she was like, Mom, I've been seeing this on YouTube. And then I did a reel with her playing with it and she literally plays with it all the time. So it's just funny what pieces resonate, which you just think, oh, who would want this? And, you know, she loved it on our road trip because it took her mind off being car sick. So she did that. And then the supplier actually told me the square one that he sent me, and it's on her backpack right now at home. So, cause she loves it so much. He told me that a lot of schools, if they give them out, are using them as a multiplication tool to teach. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. We'll have to go into our favorite items, but I do have our question to end. Ready?
Okay.
What's your favorite season and why?
Oh, fall. Fall's always been my favorite season. Thanksgiving's always been my favorite holiday. So I love Thanksgiving. I don't like Halloween though. I could care less about that and the whole costume things, but I love like the weather, and it's not cold, but it's not hot, and you can be outside and have fires. And yes, that's my favorite season. No doubt. The leaves here in Arkansas, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So fall. How about you?
I'm going to have to copy you. I love fall as well because, you know, springtime is very unpredictable in the weather. Like it can be really rainy here and really windy, and it can be really cold. And like, it's just a very unpredictable season, unless you're talking about late spring, is usually a little bit better. Summer, I mean, Boise's been having, and the Pacific Northwest in general has been having a heat wave. Maybe the whole country has. And so we were over 100 degrees for 3 weeks here in Boise, which is not normal. So I prefer to be hot I prefer summer over winter, like straight winter. But if I had to pick, it's fall because you get kind of those warm days, but you get those cool days and you can kind of layer. And I love clothes. So I really feel like I can maximize what I wear.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm the opposite on, I prefer cold over hot.
Oh.
Unless I'm at the beach, then it's different. But I prefer cold over hot. And I also, same thing with the clothes. I love the sweaters and layering and just feels cozy.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. Well, we will figure out what our next topics are for you guys. And we're going to sign off and have a wonderful weekend and see you guys next week.
Bye.